God doesn't give handles. Love doesn't test. The saying God will never give you more than you can handle is meant to comfort, but in the truth factory it falls apart. It makes God into a cosmic weightlifter's coach, piling on burdens, calibrating resistance, checking if you can still hold the bar. That is not love. Love does not test. Love does not assign burdens. Love gives only itself. And what is whole cannot be divided into handles. The word handle itself exposes the mistake. To handle means to grasp with hands, to manage, or in slang to wear a nickname. But the self God created is not a body with hands, nor a manager of trials, nor a persona hiding behind a handle. To say God gives you more than you can handle is to shrink spirit into a body and a username, carrying loads to prove itself. That is the ego's playground, not heaven's. The preacher in the video tried to correct the bumper sticker theology by pointing to 1 Corinthians 10:13. He said the verse is about temptation, not burdens. Yet he replaced one error with another. God will give you more than you can handle, so you'll rely on him. That still makes God the author of pressure, pain, and overwhelm. That still makes love a strategist of suffering. A Course in Miracles makes the correction plain. The only problem is the belief in separation. God did not author separation. God does not feed it new challenges to test the mind. The temptation Paul speaks of is always the same. The temptation to believe guilt is real, and the body is the self. The way of escape is simply to choose again. Not to prove strength under load, but to recognize there was never a load. The mind chooses innocence instead of guilt. The son remembers he is still as God created him. Now let us put the Bible stories through the truth factory. Moses and the sea. Not God stretching his capacity, but guidance cutting through fear. David and Goliath. Not God adding power to David's arm, but the single-minded stone of innocence undoing projection. Elijah and Jezebel. Not God forcing collapse, but the still small voice proving that love is never in catastrophe. Job. Not God permitting cruelty, but a drama of the ego's idol, the god of barter, exposed as false. Paul's thorn. Not God stabbing his servant, but the reminder that grace is sufficient because salvation is not found in the body at all. Each story is misread when it makes God a puppeteer of pain. Each story is healed when it is seen as a symbol of the ego undone by guidance, innocence, and grace. The preacher insisted we cannot handle our own breathing. That is true, but it proves nothing about God sending hardship. It proves only that control is not salvation. The ego cannot micromanage the body's cells and survive. The lesson is not God pushes you past your limits. The lesson is identity was never in the body at all. What actually helps when the world feels too heavy is not the thought God gave me this to bear, nor even God gave me too much so I would depend on him. What helps is naming the real temptation. The pull to believe I am a body in danger and guilt is real. The healing is the invitation to choose again. Holy Spirit, reinterpret this for me. Peace is not the prize for surviving trials. Peace is the cause that makes trials meaningless. So the truth factory verdict is clear. Both sides of the preacher's argument collapse. God does not give you more than you can handle. God does not give you less than you can handle. God does not give handles. God gives only everything. And everything cannot be split, measured, or tested. To say God sends burdens is to confuse the idol with the real. The false god of this world doles out pain and calls it holy. The true God, who is love, does not know of burden at all. I am not a body. I am free. For I am still as God created me. That is the release from all handles. That is the undoing of the illusion that suffering is God's tool. Love needs no tests. Picture, if you will, a courtroom without walls, a judge without a face, an endless jury made of shadows and echoes. The charge is separation, the sentence is guilt, and the verdict is always the same. Yet just beyond the stagecraft of accusation lies a light that dissolves gavels, chains, and whispers alike. For innocence is not argued here. It is not won by defense nor lost by prosecution. It is the fact that was never on trial. God does not give handles because God does not divide what cannot be divided. God does not test because love does not measure. Love gives only everything because love is everything. And when the dream of judgment dissolves, the trial ends where it began, nowhere at all. The only verdict is freedom, signed, sealed, and delivered in the eternal courtroom of God.